Okay.
K-O-K-O-K-O. Here we go. We have K-Heads, Robbie, Miss Nina the Mystic. It is so great to see you. Hello. It's very cold. Hopefully everyone still has power now. We thought we would come on and do a, what are those, like a pep rally or something.
Yeah, it's like a snowmageddon.
Yes.
This is a snowmageddon rally, guys. So welcome one, welcome all. I hope everybody can see us and hear us just fine. Oh yeah. We figured, well, let's do it today. Let's do it tonight. Let's do a live. Because you don't know. I mean, if you listen to Max Velocity and Ryan Hall, shoot, you might be without power, or we are. You might be without power a week or two. So, hey, let's do this while we have a chance. And welcome, Lucid Farms. Welcome, Carolina Dream. Yes, our beloved KK.
Indeed. Good to see you guys. Yeah, we don't know how, hopefully the idea is to not lose power, but if you do, hopefully you're as ready as you could possibly be. We had a couple last minute hang-ups, but luckily they were resolved. So here we are, and now that everything is resolved, I'm sure we're not going to lose power, but if things were not resolved, we probably would have lost power, and that's just sort of how life goes, I think.
Yeah, meaning, you get the generators fired up and everything, and, we're lucky, too. We have a very friendly neighbor. That's helpful.
It is, and that Murphy guy, he's an opportunist. So if you give him a minute, he will show up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Robbie, for letting us know. K-Heads, I forget where you're at. So the water main down the street broke already. It's going to be really cold in some areas, guys. Christine Love, great to see you. It's just, this is going to be one for the record books. At least that's how they're making it sound. Now, in the past, a lot of times they talk up storms, talk up whatever it was, hurricanes, etc., and then things would never be that bad. But it's a different era. It seems like usually they end up being stronger in this day and age. Catch Mini 95, welcome. Bitch Operas, good to see you. Pittsburgh, oh wow, okay, so water main bust in Pittsburgh already. Well, let's look. It is pretty chilly out there, as you can see. 38 in Seattle, San Fran 52, LA 60, Houston 63, but Dallas is 37, and it's going to be dropping pretty fast. Atlanta 47, Tampa 68, DC 27, New York 22, and of course up in Canada, it's chilly up in Ottawa, 11 below. Minneapolis, I mean, are people out there protesting in 22 below? Wow, yeah, that's kind of crazy, and it's going to get a lot colder. That's the thing. We're going to be in the teens for 2 nights, and then the third night we're going to be down around 21, 22. That's really unusual for here. Here a typical, let's say, January day is typically maybe 57, 60, and then overnight maybe 35 to 40. Yeah, look at those temperatures in Dallas. Oh, it's going to be getting cold. It's going to get cold.
Yeah, it looks pretty chilly. So we, also, I like to maybe set an intention with these live streams that we do, that everyone, they're safe and they're kept safe. And if they do lose power, that they're okay. So let's hold on to that intention. And at the end, we'll do the dings and do the things and, do our best and do our part to, help send positive energy to those who need it.
Christine Love, did you hear any strange sounds up there in Connecticut? We did a video on evolutionary, talking about that strange hum everybody's hearing in West Haven, Connecticut. I used to live one town over in Milford, and I did see a triangle. It was 98, I believe, down at the beach, Charles Island, And it took a long time to get out of sight. It went over West Haven. Cindy was feeling like that might be ship-related. I think our KK was saying maybe she thought it felt like it might be Golden Dome related.
Yeah, definitely, like a weird technology thing related. And Xenomorphet, I hope you stay warm over there. I'm sorry it's cold. Yeah, it's cold everywhere. It's just I'm really concerned about the lines snapping. I mean, that sounds really scary about the rain and the ice and the lines and how easily they can just snap and pop. And Mike was running out and noticed that they were moving tree branches and stuff already up and down our road. So it was good to see that they are doing things to prepare. I think we had 35 extra guys or something like that waiting for any power outage. And then we have plenty of local people who are absolutely earth angels, that came to give us a hand. And we're set to go now. So Mr. Happy Stacker 69. Well, hello from here to Chicago.
Are you stacking silver? It's over $100 an ounce now, and here in the United States and other places, quite a bit over. Christine's in Stratford. I worked in Stratford, and I lived in either side of Stratford for years. And Xenomorph was saying that they felt more quakes up in her area. It was relatively calm on the quake board, except for, this one hit me as a little bit unusual. It's in quite a bit from the plates. 4.0. This is, where are we? Well, it's not too populated there. Northwest of Edmonton and northwest of Calgary. At the moment, it's kind of quiet out there. The biggest ones out there right now are just a 5.1 south of Panama, 5.0 over in Alaska, and then a 5.1 over in Iran. Iran. Yeah. What's coming with Iran? There's so much coming. You might not see the black ice, so be really careful. Nothing worse than taking a tumble when you don't see it coming. And I think he managed to save the coffee. No, he did lose some of that coffee.
Oh, no. Oh, ouch. Oh, my gosh. I watch these, and you know how you guys are empaths out there. That hurts. I mean, that is going to be purple, and that's going to bruise. Ouch.
Yes. Hi there, Elantra. So weird humming and rumbling sounds on and off. So Robbie's up there in Mass, pretty close to the Cape. Yes, we are okay right now, Nina. I think for us, it's more going to be tomorrow that's going to be challenging. But I think especially in the early morning tomorrow. So we'll see what time we get up and get the first video done, hopefully with no problem. Snowpocalypse. This is real. This is insane. This is Russia. Again, over in the Kamchatka Peninsula, where we've seen some very large earthquakes. Can you imagine that? I mean, wow. People have to be pretty hardy to live there.
That's crazy. I mean, that really looks like it's some AI thing. And you got to wonder, are people really able to get out of there? I mean, that definitely looks like a huge concern. And then, is the glass holding up to all of that snow that's pressing down on it? If it doesn't, well, then what happens? I mean, that really looks horrible.
Well, Putin is sending in heavy-duty emergency equipment, literally military cargo planes, to help clear out the Snowmageddon. Entire neighborhoods, entire blocks buried. You can see, look at how far down these people are, how far up these people. You see that?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just bizarre. But it is what it is, guys. We're in different times now. That's a lot of snow to move. That's an awful lot of snow to move. Of course, I mean, it is Russia. But still, Oof, I prefer me the Caribbean. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this. This was a video we did earlier today. This was a Patreon exclusive. And normally we'll put the exclusives also up on memberships on YT. But with some subjects, I'm very hesitant to. So this was a real hesitant one. Again, we want to invite everybody, if you want to join us over on Patreon, we do appreciate it, and it does help support the cause.
It definitely helps support us, and it is a nice little family over there. And I don't know if we're having like notifications go out right now. I heard the notification was an issue earlier, so hopefully we'll get more people going on in here.
Yeah, we were hearing that from the weather guys like Ryan Hall and Max, talking about not getting notifications and people not getting notified. It's curious. There might be a lot of burnout out there. Maybe a lot of people unplugging because, it can drive you crazy to hear everything that's happening out there in the world.
Or, maybe poor people, maybe they're busy getting ready and they just, they can't make it. But we really wanted to rally everyone together because it could be a few days of power out for people. And we wanted to get that positive energy going while we have a minute. So, this is just crazy stuff. I'm hoping, like Mike, I'm hoping maybe it can just fizzle out. I don't know.
And thank you guys for liking the video and again sharing these videos with others so we can keep spreading all the stuff that we spread. We cover a lot of different topics and a lot of ground.
Any news on Obama going to jail? I haven't. Have you?
No, I've seen absolutely nothing about Obama at all. But this winter storm has occupied a lot of people's minds. This is a big one. It's literally affecting, I'd say, more than half the people. I saw 180 million affected by this storm, more than half the people in the U.S. So, this is going to leave anywhere from 12 to 18 inches in some areas. But the worst is going to be the ice, is what they're saying. And we're in that ice zone. So we're hopeful that it's not going to be as bad as they say. But, you got the National Guard activated, over 2,000 flights canceled. 2,000 flights canceled already. And, exploding trees. This is real. Upper Midwest, exploding trees. Because, again, the branches are going to get laden with a thick coating of ice. And in some areas, it's going to be bitterly cold, deadly cold. So, just be careful out there. Like in where we are, again, from the Texarkana area over into, again, South Arkansas, northern Louisiana, northern Mississippi, and down over, going on towards the Appalachians, it's going to be just a mess. And all the way up into New England, you're going to get some pretty good snowfalls. And this is what I'm hearing a lot of people mentioning is, putting two and two together and saying, well, you know what? The skies were being plastered, and then we're going to get this mega storm after the skies being plastered for days, right? Are they going to supersize it or what? And then people were catching what Trump was saying about the spraying. Somebody had made a comment that, he didn't think it had anything to do with, again, that comment he made about the stuff falling from the dust and stuff falling from the sky had anything to do with geoengineering. But yeah, of course it does. Because this is very real and people note it and we see it every day. And here somebody's catching literally helicopters laying on something thick.
What in the world is that? Now, I don't know what they're going to say. I mean, it wouldn't be for bugs. Could it be something to melt the ice? I don't know.
Why do you have military helicopters spreading anything over neighborhoods?
That's just super creepy. I'm just trying to think on the bright side, I guess. Ew.
You know, again, there was reports of helicopters dropping ticks in certain areas. Um, I know Dane Wigginton has talked about that. Other people have talked about that literally. You know, going over and dropping ticks. There's actually been videos too that show helicopters releasing tons of mosquitoes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we had quite an issue when Mike got sick and he had to have emergency surgery after a couple of tick bites. It was really strange. And then it wasn't just him. We had learned that there were 2 other people that were local who had a bite and they too had to go. So there's some problems. There's things going on and there's, certain beings targeted and it's just not nice. It's not nice at all. And I don't know why it's necessary. It needs to stop.
Oh, Sin Havoc, you said you heard Obama is off-world currently. Yeah, I don't know, vacationing on Mars, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe vacationing on Mars. That'd be nice.
Or maybe take a little trip over to Saturn and go visit some, horny friends there. And when I say that, I mean, like goats, you get the whole picture, right? That whole pan type of thing. There's way more going on than most people still realize, but people are waking up. By the way, there is a cloud seeding machine on Mount Potassi in Utah now claims to run the world's largest remote controlled cloud seeding program. Yep, absolutely. But there's way more than just that. And again, it's not all just about simply creating rain. I mean, it would be great if we just really worked our butts off and brought more rain to the desert so we could have more productivity and more healthy and yet more inexpensive produce for everybody.
And thank you so much, Mr. Happy Stacker 69. We appreciate that. And Miss Kimberly says, I think I'm more afraid of what my bills are going to be when this ends. I know. Yeah, a lot of people are. So they're doing that thing where they're dumping the extra off on people if there's an extra load and other people have to pay for it, which really doesn't seem fair because what if you only plug in a blow dryer in your house? It doesn't really matter. You're going to pay an extra $200 if that's what they decide that you have to pay. So I think we need to create an end to that. That's not very fair. You're right.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Happy Stacker, and I hope you are well stacked in silver because that's a good bet. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy out there. Oh, Karen, good to see you, Miss Millwood. Yeah, it's just wild out there right now with everything going on. Over here, you see in 56 hours, 16 Chinese military transport aircraft of the big kind went and landed in Iran, marking the largest Chinese airlift to the country in such a short time frame. They are openly backing Iran. They've actually also openly warned that the U.S. should not seek regime change in Iran. This time would be different. And, again, we hope that we don't have to go through any more wars. This country, this world has had plenty, more than enough warfare for a full Kali Yuga. And it's time to move on to the Bronze Age. And let's really do what we say when you talk about, groups that are intending to bring peace. Again, usually it's the opposite is what we've come to expect. If they say it's global warming, then we're all going to freeze.
Yeah, it's all upside down. Justice departments don't bring justice and schools don't bring education. Hospitals don't seem to bring healing. Education seems to dumb people down. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting cynical.
No, it's true. I mean, especially that last one, the education can, I don't know if it dumbs them down or it brainwashes them and indoctrinates them. And if you do become a doctor and all of a sudden you owe a very large mortgage in college tuition fees, what are you going to do? But I think that's the whole plan. Get people so indebted that what are they going to do? They're going to have to go along with the system if they want to, not go broke. And that's what's being banked on. We don't want to see any wars because the average person, again, doesn't want war. I don't care if they're in China, Russia, the U.S. The average person never wants war. The average person just wants to live their life their own way, and they want to watch the UFC on Saturday night, or maybe they want to watch the NFL on Sunday. You know, they just want to chill and just enjoy the simple things in life. Good company.
I think that's fair. Yep.
Yeah, good food, etc. Food that's not poisonous, not toxic.
I agree. That I can agree with too.
Air that's not polluted. Don't have any ticks dropped on your head while you're out at a picnic.
Oh, now you're just wanting to be spoiled.
Hey there, Will. Good to see you. BP Earthwatch, satellite images. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Emma, they've been getting some come last week. Yeah, it was classic January t-shirt weather of Vancouver. Well, you got to enjoy it when you can. Pinch runner, 26 in the morning in Florida, 83 now. 83 sounds pretty good. And Trump says that the U.S. Armada is moving towards Iran. He said he's sending a armada towards Iran, again, over the nuclear program. Supposedly, there's a lot of ships heading in that direction. Certainly he's very, very boisterous, and he is somebody that is like, just lives to play poker, is what it feels like. And he wants to, when he's got like 4 aces, he wants to cry a river. And then when he's got a handful of garbage cards, he's boasting and bragging like he's got everything. He's got a full house. He's got, all kings. So what's he really trying to do here? Because I do think a lot of messages have been sent to the control system, the real control system, because he knows what plans the control system had. And this is the thing, if you don't watch us and haven't watched us all the time, and you don't know where we're coming from, and you just watch one video, one live, you might be a little confused. But, again, these politicians and others, they're all actors. Again, that saying that the good-looking actors go to Hollywood, the ugly ones go to D.C., there is some truth to that, but they could also be over there in London, in Parliament, or they could be up in Ottawa. Again, it's a global thing. And yet, if these actors go off cue, that's when it gets dangerous. When they start ad-libbing and not going along with the lines and the script. And that's the question. Is it just a good actor, or is it an actor that's potentially going off script?
I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Again, we just feel into it. We sense and we look for signs. And we don't believe anything. We never believe. Again, break down the word. It's lie. And just like his story, history is truly a story, and beliefs are often based on lies. And, again, the masses just blindly accept in the Kali Yuga. And here we are in a Bronze Age, and people are waking up and they're not accepting anymore. There still are some. There's some that, again, like the Matrix, like I forget what his name was, the one that sold them out in the Matrix as he's munching on an illusionary steak and saying, I know this isn't real, but put me back in, because it's just too much to understand what's going on. I think there are those people that they don't want to handle the truth. They would rather keep believing the lies.
There's a sensory overload thing, and I really do feel for people, because I get that way. I get sensory overload, and I have to go wherever I have to go. Maybe it's just in my room for a little bit. Maybe it's just, it's just kind of shutting everything down just so I can exist. So I get that. Some people really, truly, they can't handle it, and that's where they're at. And I think we should just have compassion there.
Hi, Regina. Good to see you. And yes, Kelly, we definitely want the food and the bread, etc. GMO free and glyphosate free too. Oh, man. So economically, this is going to be a real challenging year. It's going to be bumpy. I mean, we were just talking about $5,000 an ounce gold and over $100 silver. We're in the thick of it when we've hit those type of numbers.
I mean, oh my gosh, I think this is kind of very interesting. I'm watching this and how it's going.
Florida, Texas, California lead America's housing crash as other Sunbelt states start to crack. Values plunge 7.6%. Just to say it as plainly as can be, and we have 114 people in the room right now. After I say this, it might drop. But the reality is, again, BlackRock, Vanguard, and these other big investment firms, their whole plan has been to crash things, force people to lose their homes, make a nation of renters here in the United States and elsewhere too. So again, that WEF motto, you're not going to own anything and you're going to be happy. You just rent everything. You rent your underwear again, anything you can imagine, it's going to be all rent. So you're never paying anything off and you're constantly just working to feed them. They're parasites. They are real parasites, true and true. So when Trump said literally that we're not going to be a nation of renters and that he actually put a law in.
It did drop to 78.
Yeah, 114 to 78 watching because we brought this up. And those people didn't leave. This is just YouTube playing with the algorithm because the AI has been programmed that way. And it's because, again, Trump said, they're not going to benefit over this crash. That's the thing that tells me, that, maybe some people are actually listening to their hearts a little bit more than their heads, and when you are up in age and you might only have a year or two to live, maybe you only have weeks or a month at most, you start thinking about karma. You start thinking about, is Ma'at going to take my heart, put it on the scale up against a feather, and is it going to judge me in a negative light? So, I mean, thinking of it from that standpoint, Trump was just talking about being old and, maybe there's not that much time left and everything. He's either, again, putting out an Academy Award performance, or he's really trying to perhaps help us and give a middle finger to the system, at least in some ways.
Mm-hmm. I know. And Jen said in the background there that the audio and everything has been screwing up. So not only did we lose like 30 or 40 people, some people's screens went blank and couldn't hear Mike. Weird. Gee, never thought we'd ever see this coming where we would be edited and audited and, what's that word when they won't let us really say the things that we want to say? They can't really say, no, you can't say those things, but they can make it very, very difficult for people to hear us.
Yeah, so let's do a little consciousness, a little exercise. I show 81 watching before I made that statement, and I knew they would take, 20, 30, 40 people off in the blink of an eye. Or at least the credit, because again, how did they penalize us? It's the same way that they award performance for performing in a manner that provides the system with more money, resources, boosts the system. It's the same thing. They just do it in reverse. They take money away from you if you go against the system. Again, Trump has actually got a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan because they, froze his accounts and everything. And this is what they plan to do with everybody once everybody's on board with the Chinese way of doing things. And I shouldn't even say Chinese. It's just poor China. Really, again, great people. Nice people. I mean, yeah. No, I love China's ancient history. I'm a very big fan of the culture. And have studied it in depth, going way back to being a kid. But when you look, it's the CCP system is what they want for everybody. And then, if you go against it, you just won't eat. They're just going to blacklist you. But this is exactly also what the Bible says, about the beast system. So, there's a little sidetracking there. So it just proved me right, because that was exactly what I said would happen, and it did happen. Because they're very predictable. How come they're so predictable? Because it's AI. And as Sin Havoc was saying, it's very ancient AI. They're just now starting to let people know about AI. It's been here all our lives. It's been here our parents' lives, our grandparents, great-grandparents. It goes on for quite a ways there. So, yeah, you're watching housing values start to crash, and they will crash. Now, the interesting part is if corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard can't buy them up, what's going to happen? If it only is private people like you guys and us that could buy a house, then if the housing prices crash, then it sucks for those that are selling, but it's a great opportunity for those that are buying. The plan has been for, again, BlackRock, Vanguard, and the like, to gobble them up in those big groups. Now, you'll still have your Gil Bates, and you'll still have your Bezoses and all these billionaires buying tons of houses outright. Again, I'm sure they have people that do nothing but just simply, scour real estate, buying real estate for them. We know how much farmland Bill Gates has acquired. So, that's throwing a direct wrench into the system. So what he did, I thought, was very good.
I think so too. I'll take the wrenches where I can, and it doesn't matter who's throwing the wrenches. I'm just glad that something is happening. So, if we're stepping away from the who, I really don't care who did that, as long as we are going away from the who. We're going in the right direction. So, they don't really care what puppet is up there. He has a job to do. But I will take anything and everything in our favor right now.
Yeah, the reality is, again, the housing prices are insanely high when you really look at it. But then at the same time, the actual value of the dollar is crashing. It's crashing big time, and it's going to continue to crash. That's why, silver is so high and gold is so high. There's a lack of faith in the fiat currencies, and that's really what's happening now. Is people are starting not to trust anything about this system, and certainly not trusting again, the monetary system. This is Robert F. Kennedy, the first. This is back in 1968. Exposes his own party's plan to destroy the black community and decimate cities by creating welfare dependence. And of course, he left us soon thereafter. So, the original Bobby Kennedy and, of course, JFK, them being, whatever you want to call it, by the system, because, again, I think everybody here would say that it was the system, ultimately, that did this. This makes it so RFK Jr., he's got a real personal stake in this. He really does have a reason to, for lack of a better word, hate the system and want to get back at them.
Yeah, there's stuff going on here that's really important that I think we need to put our energy behind, and that is, the food. The food is getting taken care of. It might not be all the things that we want, but there's so much that needs to get done. The level of poisoning that we have gone through is tremendous, and I'm actually surprised we have as many people on the planet as we do with the amount of toxins that we take in every day. But the human body is absolutely magical. We can detox things. Now, I did hear today there are some problems with detoxing other certain things, but you can still optimize your body processes, and that's what we specialize in. We specialize in it for ourselves, and we specialize in it for other people. You might not be able to do all the things, but we will get you running top notch.
So Daniel's joined us, Logic Before Authority official. He's sharing the live now on the Supernatural Show Network. So that's cool. He's spreading this again. Daniel's had, I think he said 4 channels taken down by the system. So, again, that makes you either quit or you're going to try harder. And he's not going to quit. So, in case you don't know, the Cortez shows, multiple channels there too. A very interesting, unique individual that we appreciate. And, maybe we'll do something with it sometime. And, of course, we'll work with Nina again in the future. I know Nina was one of the first ones here, too. And there's other people associated with, again, Daniel, Logic Before Authority, and the Supernatural network there that we'll end up working with in the future as time goes. We are like extremely busy. We do really pack a lot into every day, but it's so important. Now is really like it's go time. Like tonight, we were really actually both pretty damn exhausted with everything we did, but man, it's just like you gotta get out there and connect to the family, because it is a family. I wanted to do a little look, and because we were just talking about the original Bobby Kennedy and how he was taken from us early. RFK Jr. made a statement here. BlackRock owns all the meat packers. They own the pharmaceutical companies. And so we can start regulating these companies so they behave less like a cartel. They are a cartel. And let's see, we had 114, so we'll see if we drop again. There's so much that he has done. Honestly, I don't know how you couldn't be happy with him, with everything that he's done. I haven't seen anything bad, since he's been in office here with Maha. Maybe there's more that we'd like to see done, but you got to realize too, look what happened to RFK and JFK. If you move a little too quickly on this icy footing, you might not be here. And, again, this is just part of what's going on. Harmful petroleum-based dyes are being removed from our food. There's 9 petroleum-based synthetic food dyes. We're getting rid of all of them. Where did that petroleum-based idea come from in the first place? Yeah, it came again from the same people that hijacked the education system, the Rockefellers, of course, working with like the Red Shields and the J.P. Morgans and many, many other families. And then there's the families, too, that we don't hear of, and some of the groups that we don't hear of. So there's progress being made big time. And he was called a liar by, the sickle maker, Anthony F. there, for saying not one of the 72, what-he's mandated has ever been safety tested. And then after a year later, Fauci's lawyers admitted that he was right the entire time. Yeah, again, you don't have to doubt it. We could see Fauci's nose growing the whole time.
They've gotten away with this for so long. I mean, I guess it's not mind-boggling anymore. They continue to do this, and they continue to bring harm. It's like, when are things going to shift even more? I guess I'm not really happy until all the things are done. I mean, all the things are done. When we can actually speak without being censored. When Mike can say something without losing like 40 numbers off the top of everything. When we can get out there and be free with our words and tell the truth, and there is no repercussion. And when we can learn to utilize medicine in such a way where we can actually heal, and people are told the truth about what's happening to their bodies if you eat certain foods. I mean, that's when I will feel better. And RFK, he's doing more than anyone else has. I mean, he's very healthy. If you looked at our past people that we've had in this position, they didn't look too healthy.
No, he's built for his age. I mean, he's in great shape for any age. So, obviously he lives what he talks. Glenn Beck asked RFK Jr. where he stands on the Weefers, and he went straight for the jugular. It's a billionaire club that funnels the wealth upwards. and pushes totalitarian control. They jet into Davos, then lecture the world leaders on how to run the rest of us. And during the whole plague upon the land, $4 trillion was transferred up towards them, while small business died. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, again, he's done a great job. I think, you know, if anything happened to 47, this would be the person that feels the best suited to become the number one puppet. But yet again, it's like the actors. Can you imagine being there in a play and an actor all of a sudden, I don't want to say those lines. I'm going to say what I want to say. It's kind of feels like there's some of that happening.
Indeed.
So, 100% of the top 20 fast food brands containing alarming levels of glyphosate. Panera Bread, self-proclaimed proprietor of clean, wholesome foods, ranked highest. The worst glyphosate level of 439 parts per billion. Chipotle was the safest with 94x lower glyphosate of 4.6 parts per billion. You know, again, glyphosate causes liver and kidney disease, kills sperm. It's been shown to androgenize baby girls, increase autism symptoms, increase miscarriages and prenatal births and birth defects. You know, it's just horrible to see this. You can't trust anything. You can't trust Dairy Queen. You can't trust Little Caesars. You know, Panda Express, McDonald's. Ugh. It's just, you know, it's all pretty much garbage when you get down to it.
It's pretty bad, you know, when they run the test. I think we just did that video this morning about Chick-fil-A, what was being put in the chicken and what it is and what it's not, and how that's really affecting our bodies. And people just need to try to take it more seriously, the food we put in our bodies, because it affects you. It affects how you express yourself. It affects your temple. It affects your energy, and then your health. You know, your health. It's a big one. It's huge, and they don't make it very easy for people to just eat clean. They don't make it easy at all, and that's what really makes me sad, because people, you know, time is limited because you're out there chasing a job, or you're trying to do the things. You're trying to put, you know, keep a roof over your head, pay the bills, and bills keep going up, not down. And it takes time to put together good food, to cook good food and find good food. And it's just a huge challenge. It's an uphill battle. And, you know, and I got to say that is one of the things we prioritize is the food that we eat. It's really important. In our exercise, we do prioritize those things. And sometimes things have to go by the wayside. You know, maybe the house isn't as clean as it should be. You know, maybe other things. I mean, but we do try to make sure that food and exercise is upkept because of, well, it's, you know, for what we do.
Yeah, so I just wanted to see if you guys ever noticed this. Have you ever noticed this?
Yes. And they're able to tell these world leaders, you know, how to govern us.
Right, his voice, right? It's like something has attacked his voice, right? Have you ever listened to Mauro Bellino? Because he's got a lot of issues going on too. It's like something's attacked his voice, and he has called out again the Old Testament gods as being the Anunnaki, just plain and simple, and again thinking of us as slaves. You know, he's a really good. He was a Vatican translator. I mean, he's a Vatican translator, and his voice is attacked too. And then the last time I watched Dr. Bruce Lipton, his voice is gone too. He's going through another issue, quote unquote medical issue, a disease that's attacking his voice. Do you think there's any coincidences there? Could it be a connection?
You know, and Gerald Clark too. He was another one. Why, thank you so very much, Bob Huck. That was very kind. We do appreciate that. That helps sponsor these videos because we don't get a whole lot for putting them on, but we do definitely get you guys, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Gerald
Gerald
Clark.
Clark was another one. And it hit him hard and fast. And I'm just, it's so unfortunate. With the truth, and they don't like that. So it's not easy doing this line of work. You definitely have to have a passion for it. You have to have a calling for it, and sometimes things go wrong. But he's an amazing. I watched him for a lot of years, and I also watched what happened to him. It was so sad.
Yeah, here he is on Leak Project with Rex. This feels like a little more of a personal blow there, and I do think they expected us to be gone too, because like we shared with you guys when we were in Hattiesburg, we were actually really next to a military base, and there was a flying triangle that came and just rode along right by the side of us, and we got some video that was kind of blurry. We were trying to get it as quick as we could because this thing was just running alongside of us. And what we figured was they were irradiating us. And then Zeke died and Sassy got growths. And, the doctors were thinking that Cindy had leukemia, and Cindy was getting very sick, and I was getting weak too. So it was really only because of all the stuff that we understand health-wise that we nursed ourselves back to health. But yeah, again, that's what the system does. This is what the system does. How can it be that aspartame was once on the Pentagon's list of biological warfare chemicals, but now it's supposedly safe as a food additive?
Huh. Imagine that. I mean, yes, we did say thanks to Bob Hawk. I'll say thanks again. But yeah, we went through quite a thing, and this is where I learned all about ozone. And I had a couple of wonderful, wonderful doctors that are just on the outskirts of the system that knew to tell me to work with ozone. And I did. I bought my own machine. I do all the things. I do EWAT, which is exercise with oxygen therapy. And thank you. Thank you so much, Awakened Light Worker Soul. Thank you. It helps us sponsor these videos. We appreciate it. And we do over on Ko-Fi as well. We do accept coffees over there. And that really helps us get this information out. But the ozone therapy, I really believe that did save my life. That saved me. I was in a bad way. The doctors, it would happen at a time when they were wanting people. They said, okay, well, we need to run more tests on you, but in order for you to have these other tests that might save your life, you have to do a thing. And they wanted me to do the swab thing in my nose and to test for the seed, the plague upon the land. And you know what? I just told him no. I said no. And I went and I got my ozone machine. And as sick as I was, I figured it out. And with Mike's healing energy, I swear he kept me alive in that ozone machine, and I made it. And I'm not sorry one bit, because I know the power of ozone, and I know there's doctors out there that really do care.
Oh, I saw a thing on parasites and sushi that was just disgusting. I mean, if you really look at sushi under a microscope, but this is Dr. Thomas Seyfried explaining why parasite medications are so effective at defeating cancer cells. Parasites and tumors use a common metabolic pathway, and a drug that works against parasites can be very effective against cancer. And again, there's a lot of stuff naturally that can take out the parasites. When we're talking again, how would you disarm the type of parasites that are running the planet? I think it's through love and compassion with each other. That short circuits all their plans. If we're not getting mad at each other, if the Republicans are not getting mad at the Democrats and the Democrats are not getting mad at the Republicans, then, you short circuit their plans. What else are they going to do? They're always looking for an indirect way to get us to go after each other. It's when humanity starts to learn that you're being manipulated by outside forces, and then everything does change and will change. It is changing.
Thank you so much, Kay Millwood. She said, "Big Karen, thank you so much, because we appreciate you, and the powers that be keep kicking us off like we were going to go away. Let's Yes, thank you so, so much. That's very helpful. And yeah, no, this is absolutely not medical advice. All of this is just purely entertainment purposes only, and I only speak from my own personal experience. What do I know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Cortez says, fasting, meditation, prayer, this very powerful because again, we are creating this reality ourselves. It's I think a great analogy. It's like we're all here and we're all somewhere else at the same time. And over there in that somewhere else, we've got these VR headsets on. We all have it separately hooked up, so to speak. But we're in here having this virtual reality experience together, but each one of us experiencing it through your own unique perspective. We're all individual fractals of the one source, which is in you. So, yeah, again, you don't need any dogma. Dogma is just a simple tool of division. And again, conquering us through fear. If anything is based on punishment, that's not really coming from source. That's not coming from source. If it's based on punishment, if it's based on love, yes, then that is coming from source. This is why the confusion with, again, Yeshua, when the Pharisees and Sadducees came up to him, he said to them, "Get behind me, Satan." Now, I think he would say something like that because, again, can we trust every single word that's in the Bible? Well, no. If you've studied it enough, you'll realize there are contradictions and there are mistranslations. In fact, we have copies. We have our oldest copies of many of the New Testament books, for instance. They actually have revisions in them. You could see words crossed out and other words scribbled in. So it's understanding that at the heart of it, what Yeshua was teaching was love and compassion, and also our own ability to do things even more than he did. Why? How could we possibly do greater things than him? Well, I think part of it's not that we're greater than him, but in the times to come, we're all going to be getting much more powerful. Because again, he knew that he was here in the dark, the darkest part of the Kali Yuga. Now we have our feet in the Bronze Age. And, again, the light of the sun, all the information coming in the form of light from not just our own sun, but other stars, it's awakening the DNA that they literally turned off through genetic intervention. This is how they claim that they made us, but the reality is they just basically genetically intervened on some life forces, life forms that were here on the planet already and just modified them.
We live on such an incredible planet. There's so many different types of beings, entities. There's so many different levels outside of our visible spectrum. Really, we just don't know what we don't know. And I like to explore, we all come from source. Source is perfect love, but we come here for other kinds of love. We come here for messy love, hairy love, crazy love, all kinds of different things. And we're here to explore and it's okay to not be perfect because that's the perfection and the beauty in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get Daniel again on, he's going to show you a lot of secrets. Again, Cortez was just talking about the mystery schools. Yes, that's where it's at. There are things hidden there in the Bible that are, again, things we need to take in a symbolic manner. And look at things like, again, what does it mean to be christened? Is it, the oil that they put over your third eye if you're there in a Catholic service and you get your little oil over the third eye? No, we're talking again about the craniosacral fluid. We're talking about activating the pineal gland, activating your light body. You have to clear out and open up the 7 main chakras so the energy is flowing through there. And then the energy circulates between the Ida and the Pingala and the Sushumna. Those are the 3 main central nadis. The Ida and the Pingala loop around each other. They intersect at each of the major chakras, and that's the masculine and the feminine energies, the main energy force that flow alongside of the spine again, intersecting at each one of the chakras themselves are interdimensional portals that our consciousness can travel through. It is also said that there's a Hindu deity inside each one of these different chakras that can serve as your guide to different dimensions. So, there's so much more going on than what we're taught out in the open.
There is, and I agree to Gemma. It says, no need to be so serious. Keep the heart young and laugh and laugh and laugh. Life is good. We are blessed, and you have that little blessing there with you right now. And those little stinkers, they will keep you young for a long time. And then right when you think you're getting old, boom, you'll have a grand.
Yeah, as Robbie says, your blood is light in liquid form. Yes, and plasma. Again, there's not really any talk about plasma, and they don't like talking about the ether, again, which is literally changing. So right now the Schumann is relatively quiet. The KP index has been still, relatively, it's not a major storm by any means, but still around a 4 or a 5, slightly elevated. It does seem that these days, even that can trigger reactions in people. So I don't know how you guys have been feeling. Have you felt wired, or have you felt a little more tired lately? Each one of us is at a different place in this. So it's good to, again, have a daily spiritual practice, but also take care of the body as well, your mind, body, spirit complex.
That's the most important thing, is take care of that body. That's what we use to express ourselves, and that's what we use for the experience here on earth. Is our body, is our temple, is our mind, and everything we put in it is going to be some expression of human or some expression of you. So it's so important, like what we eat. And doesn't that just make sense why they would give us and do horrible things to our food? It's so important what we put in our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Develop, again, a definite practice when it comes to something along the lines of like Qigong or yoga. Coordinate your breathing with your visualization. Abdominal breathing is going to shift your body out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. And that will allow you to achieve higher states of consciousness as well. So Washington, D.C., Varginha, alien press event, deadly bombshell, Brazilian pathologist, Professor Dr. João Janini, 60-plus year career, 50,000-plus autopsies, and he's analyzed over 1 million microscopic analysis, says that the soldier that handled the creature, in that whole fiasco down there in Brazil where they, had recovered again a creature that was alive but wounded, some form of alien, or let's just say ultra-terrestrial, so we cover all the bases. Well, the soldier that handled the creature died from a freak infection. That gets you wondering, too, about what, even if it is maybe in a different section of Earth, is there stuff in another section of Earth that we've never seen in our section of Earth? Or, again, if it's a creature from a different planet, a different realm, then, yeah, absolutely. There could certainly be all sorts of different pathogens that we've never encountered.
There's that, but we have ancient DNA, so we might, our DNA that they say is just junk DNA may just step up and start helping us out.
Another channel that, if I'm speaking about people that I'd like to work with and have a good, fun time with, and I'm happy, and we're blessed to now be expanding and working with Daniel and his crew. We haven't even met all of his crew yet, but I'm sure we will. Autodidactic is a great channel in Autodidactic too. I just enjoy him. He's funny, and I like his way. If you guys don't know these channels, you'll like them. You'll absolutely like them. I mean, it's just good stuff. here talking about the return of superpowers. Yeah, absolutely. Because this is where we are now. We're in a new age. So in the golden age, humans are like the gods. We literally, just to imagine all the Marvel comics, beings again, or DC. I forget which is which. But anyway, superheroes, those type of things are a reality. So we're entering a time of myth and legends that we're going to see happening all around us. I mean, these are exciting times. Once we get through the death spiral of the control system, then, oh man, life gets to be so exciting.
It gets better, it gets better. You have to get through that thing where your body's not functioning so good, and then all of a sudden, boom, your body's functioning really good and you're happy. But, to experience that happiness, it's all about the temple. And good to see everybody in the house. Looks like we have a nice crowd tonight.
Yeah, Campbell is fabulous. I mean, really enjoy him. He's just fun. He's a fun guy. And I don't mean a mushroom. Here comes humanoid robots. Industry makes clear pivot towards dedicated purpose commercial deployments. We understand a robot in every home. One thing that I almost forgot to mention with Campbell, when he was talking also, they've done, I think on Autodidactic 2, a whole series about the ocean. And so I think it's kind of cool, The question is, and we did get that space is more like an ocean. It's not as dense as our water ocean, but it's denser than the air. It's thicker than the air. This is what we've gotten from the guides. So Campbell was saying, what if you could go into the ocean as an entry point into space? And I thought about that, and that was really an intriguing thought.
I think there's just a lot of things, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to consider all things. All we really know is what we have been given, by the mass media. Everything. We can go within, but a lot of the things that even are within are also molded from without. So we just have to keep our minds open and our hearts open that maybe there's something we don't know.
I don't think it would be a bad thing to have a robot that did all the housework and things like that. I mean, I like to do the cooking. And sometimes it's okay to do some cleaning. I don't have a problem with cleaning either. But how about all the mundane things that you don't want to do? Can you imagine if everybody was able to afford something like this? That would be so cool. It really would be.
And I know that Rama would want one that just knows how to throw a ball. Yes, Rama needs his own ball thrower. And then we could use another one that could come around and just work on Sita so that Sita is just being nice to everybody. And Sita needs to go to be nice to people classes. We are working on that with our Sita, but Rama would love one that just threw ball.
Yeah, I love that saying, Susan Donahue, over in San Fran area. Feels like we're a remote Amazon tribe heading to a Star Wars world. Yeah, all of a sudden you look up and there you go. The Empire's battling the rebels. I do think I would not be surprised if we see that in our lifetime at all. In fact, I've had several dream visions that were just that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's there's a lot of things to be had. I don't think technology is all bad. It can be used for a lot of really good things, but the problem is it's not.
Yeah, so this is that Mr. Beast guy. I'm sure somebody's thought that maybe he's the Antichrist because they already call him Mr. Beast.
Yeah, they do. That's true. Good point.
He sees these two giant guys out in the audience. He looks like he's in Dubai. I guess Dubai is one of the cool places to be, again, if you're into that type of thing. Look at the size of these guys. So these guys are right around 8 feet. I think they said 7'11" and 8'1" or something like that. Look at the size of them. Wow. You know, I mean, they're just huge. But again, when we're talking about some of the known giants in history, they're not big at all, because we've had giants twice their size here amongst us. In fact, like if you look at those that we usually term the Anunnaki, much bigger than this.
I know. Look at these guys. I mean, this is crazy, but I have gotten that information as far as, a lot more oxygen equals a lot bigger beings.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And again, I do think, I think this was Robert Wadlow, if I remember right. He was, I thought, 8'11", if I'm remembering correctly. Very, very tall. He didn't live long at all. But yeah, I do think that our atmosphere is artificially altered. I think it's been artificially altered by the control system. And I think that right now, they're naturally changing our atmosphere. When I say they, I guess, you could say source, maybe the Galactic Federation has something to do with it, and other benevolence. But I do think that's another part of what we call chemtrails. They've been altering our atmosphere the entire time. I would say the last 12, 13,000 years.
Yeah, it's not very nice. I do think there's a lot of technologies out there that we are definitely unaware of, and I think we're slowly, finally being made aware of them, but it's taken a minute, so.
Yeah, Jay. I mean, they think that they rule us. They really do. Yeah, it's great to have everybody here today. Yeah, 8 foot 11.1, and only 22 years old when he died. Yeah, that's so sad.
Do a sound check. Everybody okay?
Everybody okay? You could still hear us? We still have sound, guys? Oh, the picture glitched out when we said the word.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, well, again, there's an AI algorithm that is running all that. Did you know in 1941 the Netherlands became the first country to use electric taxis due to gasoline shortages? Isn't that curious? Again, they had electric cars 100 years ago. More than that. I think I saw some in the 1890s. Yeah, you got to really question everything.
Yeah, I guess we got lost a few times. It sounds like they're almost just dropping us as needed in real time. If we even, oh, I know. I bet you they have some type of like, what are the thought police? They must have thought police on YT now. So even if we think it drops.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fascinating to see some of the technology. Traditional house built in Japan without a single nail. Oh man, Japanese craftsmanship. If you're into guitars, I do think Japan makes, I hate to say this for the U.S., but I think they make the best guitars, honestly. I mean, they're known for their workmanship. How would you possibly, look at how ingenious. No nails needed. Pretty fascinating stuff. So anyway, they dismantled this house, and they're relocating it and then reassembling.
Yeah, I mean, woodworking is to do real woodworking where you don't need nails. You're just using feather and groove. Now that takes talent, and we used to have talent on this planet.
Look at her. She knows the term, feather and groove.
Uh-oh.
Wow, she taught me something right now. How about this? Melted Spain. This is Negratan Reservoir in Spain. Cappadocia in Andalusia. That's in Turkey. No. Okay, so he's confused me here. But no, he's saying it's in Spain. I mean, it looks beautiful. We've seen these melted buildings, time and time and time again. And, it's just, again, it's technology in my mind's eye. I do think it's technology related. And, yeah, there is the thought, too, could be done by solar flashes. And, I think there are natural cycles. But I do think also that so much of what we see is technology. Can you guys still hear us? I hope you could. Cortez says Yamaha acoustics were the best guitar, especially for schools. Yeah, I think that was one of the first ones I ever had. Would I go to Japan? I would love to go to Japan. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd feel very safe in Japan besides the earthquake potential.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, Japan is wonderful. Again, it's great to explore. I hope to do some traveling outside of the U.S. Pretty soon. Within the next 10 years, I would hope. We haven't done too much traveling lately. But again, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And Cindy's she's putting together her list and checking it twice, and then she's going to give us some dings. Can we put out the intention that everybody be kept safe and that no one loses their life or loses property through the storm that's coming and going to affect, they say, up to about 180 million people in the U.S. So a massive storm. I've even seen them talking about it being a storm of a 1 in 1,000 year storm. When you hear that, that makes you definitely pause.
So first, I want to say thank you for prayers and give an update to Steve and Lori. Lori was in a really bad way in the hospital, being kept breathing, and it was really quite frightening. But I saw a video of her today where she's using her voice, she's moving her head. Our hope is that she's going to be able to come out here and see us, and we're going to be able to tell her the story. That's my hope. So thank you so much for those prayers for Steve and Lori, and we do hope that Chris's parents are doing better. I have not gotten an update from Diane and Fernando, but Chris is taking very good care of them. He's such a good person, taking good care of his parents. And I just really want to say thanks, you guys. And we have some family members, a younger family member went through emergency surgery, and she is coming along doing very, very well. So, you guys, we put the prayers out there, and we really appreciate your support. And then also to sponsor the video today, I want to say thank you to some people here, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Kay Millwood, thank you so much. Samasuzu, thank you so much. Awaken Lightworkers Unite. Bob Hawk, thank you so much. And I hope I got everyone, and all of you, thank you so much for the thumbs up. If you support us on Patreon, that really helps us a lot. Ko-Fi, you can buy us a coffee. It makes us be able to do these videos, say the prayers, do the intentions, do the dings, and send out this positive energy. So you guys know how to do this. So you want that positive intention in your mind. So I think a happy thought, and we're gonna go out with some dings here. So here we go. You guys are so amazing and wonderful and beautiful, and thank you for being part of our family. Source bless and namaste.
Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may my thoughts, actions, words, and deeds contribute to their happiness and their freedom. As always, guys, much love. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow. Namaste.
Namaste.